Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, far from the prying eyes of modern civilization, exist communities that have remained isolated for decades, sometimes centuries. These groups, known as uncontacted peoples, deliberately choose to live apart from the rest of the world. But what exactly does uncontacted mean? And who are these people that continue to thrive in an ever-changing world? The term uncontacted is used to describe indigenous peoples who have no sustained, official, or systematic interaction with modern society. Their isolation is not an accident. It is a choice often born out of a painful history of exploitation, disease, and violence inflicted by outside forces. These communities have learned to live in harmony with their surroundings, relying on centuries-old knowledge passed down through generations, and they consciously reject attempts at contact that might endanger their fragile existence. Today, we turn our gaze to one of the most enigmatic and least understood of these groups, the Massaco tribe. Named after the river that courses through their vast territory in the state of Rondônia, western Brazil, the Massaco are one of just 28 confirmed uncontacted groups in the country. Although outsiders call them Massaco, the people themselves remain a mystery, their language, traditions, and self-identity known only through indirect evidence and cautious observation. Decades of dedicated work by Brazil's National Indigenous Peoples Foundation, or FUNAI, have slowly unveiled hints of their existence. What was once presumed to be a dwindling remnant is now showing signs of population growth and resilience. Early estimates in the 1990s placed their numbers between 100 and 120 individuals. Recent camera traps, satellite imagery, and on-site observations now suggest that the Massaco population may have grown to as many as 200, or even 300, people, an astonishing reversal that defies the narratives of decline we often associate with isolated tribes. In this video, we will take you on a journey inside the hidden world of the Massaco. We will begin by exploring the latest visual evidence and hearing from researchers who have spent years monitoring these isolated people. Then, we'll dive into the complex challenges and controversies surrounding the efforts to observe and protect uncontacted tribes. Finally, we will reflect on the ethical balance between our natural curiosity and the imperative to preserve a way of life that has remained untouched for generations. Over the past several years, cutting-edge camera technology and satellite imagery have provided us with the first unmediated glimpses into the life of the Massaco tribe. These images, captured by FUNAI agents led by seasoned researcher Alter Algea, have not only confirmed the tribe's presence but have also revealed intriguing insights into their lifestyle and ingenuity. Every time we return to the area, we notice something new. A freshly built tapiri, the subtle arrangement of spikes along a trail, or even the clear footprints of children. These are not random. They are deliberate signs that the Massaco are actively managing their territory and protecting themselves from outsiders. In our most recent expeditions, we have documented evidence that suggests the population has more than doubled since the early 1990s. It is a sign of resilience, of life thriving in spite of immense external pressures. Among the most striking elements of these recordings are the massive longbows, some extending over 3 meters in length. Such weapons are not only a testament to the Massaco's skilled craftsmanship but also serve as a symbol of their commitment to defend their space. In addition to their impressive weaponry, the tribe uses ingenious defensive measures, rows of spikes set in the forest floor, an unmistakable message to any intruder: keep out. Remote cameras and satellite images have allowed FUNAI to map the seasonal movements of the Massaco. As the forest shifts with the rains, the tribe adapts its settlement patterns, moving from one temporary shelter to another, always in harmony with the natural rhythms of the land. This nomadic yet calculated lifestyle helps minimize contact with outsiders, ensuring that their community remains isolated and safe from the diseases and disturbances that can come with unwanted attention. Respectful observation is at the heart of FUNAI's policy. In the past, attempts to directly contact these isolated peoples have resulted in tragic outcomes, often exposing them to diseases for which they have no immunity. Instead, FUNAI uses a no-contact policy that relies on indirect methods, discreet camera placements, satellite tracking, and even leaving metal tools or gifts in the forest to discourage the tribe from venturing into dangerous zones where they might come into contact with loggers or settlers. What we see in these images is more than just proof of the Massaco's existence. It is a testament to their ingenuity and their determination to preserve a way of life that has remained undisturbed for generations. The careful planning of their movements, the deliberate defensive measures, all speak to a deep understanding of the land. It is our duty to protect these practices, as they are not just traditions, but vital elements of the world's cultural heritage. Recent images also reveal the presence of children, small footprints in the soft earth, toys fashioned from natural materials, and the remnants of a simple yet vibrant domestic life. These signs indicate that the Massaco are not only surviving, but are also growing, a hopeful sign for a people long written off as relics of the past. Each new piece of footage deepens our understanding of the Massaco, yet it also reminds us of the immense responsibility we carry in witnessing and reporting their story, always with respect and without imposing on their sovereign choice of isolation. Despite the inspiring resilience of the Massaco, their world is under constant threat. The challenges of monitoring uncontacted tribes are many and complex, ranging from environmental encroachment to ethical dilemmas in balancing human curiosity with respect for indigenous autonomy. In recent decades, aggressive expansion by agribusiness, illegal logging, mining, and drug trafficking have encroached upon vast areas of the Amazon. The very boundaries that have sheltered the Massaco for generations are now increasingly under threat from economic forces that value the forest's resources over its inhabitants. Even within protected zones, violations occur, often silently, but with catastrophic impact. FUNAI, the governmental agency responsible for protecting Brazil's indigenous peoples, has been at the forefront of these efforts for decades. Yet, despite their dedication, FUNAI faces significant challenges. Chronic underfunding, dwindling staffing levels, and legal battles with powerful agribusiness interests create an environment in which protecting isolated tribes becomes an uphill struggle. We are working under very difficult conditions. The pressures from logging companies and land grabbers are immense, and our resources are limited. Every expedition is planned with extreme care, not only to document the presence of these communities, but also to ensure that we do not inadvertently harm them. Our no-contact policy is not just about avoiding direct interaction. It's about creating a buffer zone that protects these peoples from the encroachment of modern society. Satellite imagery has been a crucial tool in monitoring these territories, yet even the best technology cannot fully counteract on-the-ground realities. The borders of the Massaco territory, while officially recognized, are in constant flux due to illegal incursions. Logging companies often build roads deep into the forest, opening up previously inaccessible areas to further exploitation. In some cases, these roads have been linked directly to violent encounters between loggers and indigenous peoples, a stark reminder of the risks inherent in any contact with outsiders. Alongside these environmental challenges, there exists a contentious debate about how, or even whether, isolated tribes should be monitored at all. Many indigenous rights advocates argue that even indirect observation through camera traps and satellite images can be intrusive. They question whether the benefits of data collection might be outweighed by the risks of exposing these communities to the outside world, including diseases and cultural disruption. Conversely, without monitoring, it becomes nearly impossible to prove the existence of these tribes and enforce the legal protections that are meant to shield them from exploitation. Furthermore, the ethical debate extends to the very methods of observation. FUNAI's policy of non-interference is based on lessons learned from tragic historical encounters, when contact resulted in devastating epidemics and the collapse of entire cultures. In response, researchers now employ technologies that allow them to see without being seen. While this approach helps protect the health and autonomy of isolated peoples, it also leaves us with only fragmented insights into their full lives and rich cultures. In a sense, we are left as outsiders peering through a keyhole, our view forever incomplete. Local indigenous rights organizations are tirelessly advocating for stronger legal measures to demarcate and protect indigenous lands. They warn that any erosion of these protections could lead to irreversible damage, not only to the environment but also to the cultural and physical survival of peoples like the Massaco. These voices call for a holistic approach that balances development with respect for the natural world and its indigenous stewards. As we have seen, the story of the Massaco is one of both remarkable resilience and profound vulnerability. Their existence challenges us to reconsider our relationship with nature and with those who choose, or are forced, to remain apart from the modern world. It is a delicate balance between our desire to understand and document human diversity and our responsibility to protect the sanctity of isolated lives. The Massaco have thrived in isolation by relying on time-honored traditions and an intimate connection with the land, a connection that modern society can only admire from afar. Their long, 3-meter bows, their intricate system of spiked traps, and even the seasonal movement of their tapiris speak to a culture that is perfectly adapted to the unpredictable rhythms of the Amazon. In preserving their way of life, they offer a living example of a sustainable relationship with the environment, one that has much to teach us in an era of environmental crisis. Yet, the very forces that threaten their existence are also the forces that fuel our modern progress. Logging, mining, and expansive agriculture drive economic growth and urban development, but at what cost? The expansion of these industries often comes at the expense of indigenous territories and pristine natural habitats. For the Massaco, each incursion into their forest increases the risk of disease, violence, and cultural disintegration. And for us as a global community, the loss of such irreplaceable diversity is a tragedy that extends far beyond the borders of the Amazon. Advocates for indigenous rights remind us that these communities are not relics of a forgotten past. They are living, breathing peoples with a right to self-determination. The challenge lies in finding ways to respect their choice for isolation while still safeguarding their territories from the relentless advance of modern exploitation. This is not simply a local or national issue. It is a global challenge that calls for international cooperation, robust legal frameworks, and a re-evaluation of our economic priorities. As curious observers of history, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Our fascination with uncontacted peoples is natural. After all, their hidden lives speak to questions about our own identity, progress, and the meaning of civilization. But that fascination must always be tempered by respect. We owe it to the Massaco, and to all isolated tribes, to ensure that our quest for knowledge never undermines their safety or their sovereignty. History has shown us that contact, when forced or mishandled, can lead to devastating consequences. Epidemics, cultural disruption, and even violence have marked previous attempts at breaking the isolation of indigenous peoples. These tragic outcomes remind us that sometimes, the best way to honor the humanity of another group is to allow them the freedom to remain apart. A decision that may seem alien to us, but is entirely their own. In the balance between preservation and curiosity, we are faced with a profound ethical question. How do we document the existence of these peoples for historical and environmental purposes without altering the very fabric of their lives? The answer is not simple. It lies in a steadfast commitment to non-interference and in supporting legal and international efforts to protect indigenous lands. Across the globe, governments, non-governmental organizations, and indigenous rights groups are increasingly working together to create protective measures that honor the autonomy of uncontacted tribes. In Brazil, recent political shifts have offered a glimmer of hope, with renewed commitments to demarcate and defend indigenous territories. While there is still a long road ahead, these efforts signal a growing recognition that the survival of communities like the Massaco is not only a local concern, it is a responsibility shared by all of humanity. As we close our exploration of the hidden world of the Massaco, I invite you to reflect on what their story means for all of us. Their resilience and ingenuity are a testament to the enduring human spirit, but their plight also exposes the collateral damage of modern progress. It is a call to action, a reminder that preserving the diversity of our planet's cultures and ecosystems is not just an act of compassion, it is essential to our collective future. In the end, the balance between preservation and curiosity is a delicate one. We must be ever vigilant that our search for knowledge does not become an instrument of intrusion. The Massaco, like so many uncontacted tribes, have chosen a path of isolation to protect themselves. Our role is not to break that isolation, but to ensure that the boundaries they have drawn are respected and that the forces of exploitation are kept at bay. In today's video, we have delved deep into the world of the Massaco, a people who have remained uncontacted not by chance, but by choice. We've seen how advanced technologies have allowed us to catch fleeting glimpses of their existence, while at the same time revealing the enormous challenges they face in a rapidly changing world. From the impressive craftsmanship of their 3-meter bows to the strategic placement of spiked traps designed to ward off intruders, the Massaco offer us a window into a way of life that is both timeless and incredibly fragile. Yet, every glimpse of their life also brings with it a reminder of the constant tension between modern development and the right of indigenous peoples to live in isolation. The controversies surrounding the monitoring of uncontacted tribes force us to ask difficult questions about ethics, responsibility, and the true cost of progress. As we continue to learn about the Massaco and other uncontacted peoples, let us do so with the utmost respect for their autonomy and their centuries-old bond with the land. Our curiosity should not translate into intrusion. It should instead fuel our commitment to protect their world, an irreplaceable fragment of human diversity that has so much to teach us about resilience, sustainability, and the intrinsic value of life in all its forms. Thank you for watching. If you found this exploration as eye-opening as I did, please like, subscribe, and share this video with others who believe in the importance of protecting our shared history and natural heritage. Together, we can ensure that the voices of those who choose isolation are not silenced by the march of progress. This script for Uncontacted and Untold, Inside the Hidden World of Massaco, is designed to be informative, respectful, and engaging, providing a comprehensive overview of Massaco's life and the complex challenges they face in today's world. By underlining the latest visual evidence with insights from decades of researchers and indigenous rights advocates, we not only document the remarkable culture, but also call on all of us to protect these last refuges of ancient human wisdom. Thank you for watching History Unveiled. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share so that more people can learn about the hidden worlds that still exist in our global community. All facts and figures in this script are drawn from recent reports and articles, including sources from Guardian, On the Way, The Sun, and the Jerusalem Post. Continue monitoring and updated reports will further enrich our understanding of Massaco's world.